Good morning from Naples and welcome to the 10th running. Good morning from Naples and welcome to the 10th running of the Napoli City Half Marathon. Cloudy skies this morning and only 11 degrees, but perfect conditions for the almost 6,000 runners who have come from around the world to run in the beautiful setting of Italy's third largest city. Both men's and women's elite fields are looking for fast times on this stunning flat course, a course which saw a new Italian record set by Yemen Crippa in 2022, and with a time of 59:26, this is also a course record. The scenic course winds around the Bay of Naples and passes some of the city's best-known landmarks. My name is Wendy Sly, and I will be your host for the next 90 minutes as we watch the racing unfold. The elite fields are strong, and all the main names are here saying they are in good shape and wanting to run fast. So there's a lot to look forward to.
E arriviamo ai colori di casa. Torna i colori della Polizia di Stato delle Fiamme Oro. Personale di 1 ora 2:29. Corso qui a Napoli nel 2019. L'applauso di
The lineups this morning include Ryan Carew, Kenya, Bernard Blort, Anthony Kimtai, and Britain's Emile Caress, all looking to fight it out over the next hour, all hoping to get under that hour timeline.
Facciamo un grande applauso a Sofia Fiorentru. Mancano ormai pochissimi minuti a via, 4 minuti e mezzo alla partenza.
Emile Caress from Britain, only 26, but with a marathon debut of 2:08 already to his name. He will be looking to break Mo Farah's British record of 59:26 and to get under the hour time for the first time.
La musica della mandala che ci accompagnerà, l'ultimo a lungo ovviamente per il diritto prima del via, e da quel momento mancheranno 30 secondi alla partenza. Chiedo a tutti coloro che sono a bordo strada di non sporgervi.
From Kenya we have Bernard Blort.
Perché ci sono 6.000 persone che fanno e il calcolo di colpisce, quindi fate attenzione perché non frenano e non si scansano. Quindi vi prego massima attenzione a bordo strada nel momento dei
The guys are warming up here.
ci saranno tra pochi minuti. La prima partenza sarà alle 9 tra 3 minuti e mezzo e poi un minuto dopo la partenza della griglia C, un minuto ancora dopo la partenza delle griglie D ed E. Quindi, ripeto, 3 minuti alla partenza e siamo pronti a seguire una delle più importanti.
So let's take a look at the course that the athletes will be running past this morning. So this race starts straight down the Viale J.F. Kennedy and then heads towards the Seafront. It then runs through the Galleria Laziale, a 900-metre tunnel, which for the first part is downhill a little bit, so a great start for the runners. At 5K, they will pass the iconic Castel d'Ovo. It's currently closed for renovation work, but legend has it, under the Castel d'Ovo is an egg which, if the shell breaks, Napoli falls. They then run past the port, where people can get ferries out to the beautiful island of Capri, and then along further to the Galleria della Vittoria, which follows the turn at 10 kilometres. A new part of the course winds through the city for just a short period of time before heading back. you can see the port in all its glory and the 10-kilometre turn point.
Manca poco più di un minuto alla partenza. Tra pochi istanti lasceremo
At this
andare
point, the
la
athletes will
musica
be
e
thinking
il silenzio.
of the home journey, which takes them back along towards the seafront again, through the Galleria della Vittoria, past the Piazza Bobbio, where there will be some music to greet them.
E ovviamente l'obiettivo è arrivare sotto l'ora. Quindi un minuto alla partenza, ci prepariamo
they head back through the tunnel again, slight uphill for the last 2 or 3 kilometres towards the finish. And they're off. And the music starts as the athletes make their way down the Viale JF Kennedy. And here you can see many of the 6,000 runners who've come out this morning to take part in this wonderful event. Lots of smiling faces despite the weather. And already at the front of the race you can see the leaders are starting to put some pace on. And hundreds of people passing by me here on their way to run the 21.1 kilometres along the beautiful coastline of the Bay of Naples. And here we are with a fairly small group already away at this very early stage. We're only a minute, or just over a minute into the race, and there are 4 or 5 away, with Britain's Emil Caress leading the second group. So there's a lead group of 4 here. This is very early for these athletes to be away from the main group. But clearly they're feeling good and strong and a calm and cool morning. And there's Emil Caress leading what is already a second group, although thankfully they aren't too far detached.
Allora ricordo che ci sarà una terza partenza per la griglia D. Sì. Allora, restate lì dove siete, per favore, non venite.
So 2 of these runners have already broken the hour time for a half marathon, a time which is known to be world class. Emil Caress from Britain hasn't quite done that yet, but I know he's looking this morning to break Mo Farah's British record of 59.32. It's remarkably early for a group this small to have broken away, but I guess these athletes are very determined this morning to take advantage of the perfect conditions and run at a fast time. the Italian men's record set by Yemen Crippa back in 2022 when he won the race. Slightly different weather that day, a bit more sunny, but as I said earlier, this is perfect conditions for distance running. The Italian women's record is looking to be challenged today by Sofia Yaremchuk. We don't have any pictures of her as yet, but she has her own pacemaker in her challenge to break 109 for the first time and head into the Italian record books.
Il giro di boa considerando per 10 diocesi
and we're sticking with the men's lead for the moment, leads group for the moment. And they're heading down towards the tunnel where we'll lose them for a little bit as they all looking very strong. Emil Cress has made his way up to that front group. 2 and 3 just slightly straggling behind already. La galleria che li riporterà all'angolo di Via Chiatamone, da lì Piazza Vittoria, nuovamente Brian Kenboy is in that group, only 24, and like so many of these young Kenyan athletes, already with a great CV. He is one of the athletes, in fact, with a sub-60 clocking, 59.37 in Beijing only last year.
Ragazzi, aspetto il vostro ok. Lorenzo, un saluto anche a tutti i nostri pacers che vedete con le bandiere.
So the men are entering the 900-meter tunnel now, where it is slightly downhill, but of course they will go back up through the tunnel on the way back and face a slight uphill challenge there.
Napoli, su con la voce e andiamo. 10, 9, 8.
And as you can see, the two guys in the front there running a 59.30 pace, which has been set for these elite athletes. And just to give you some perspective, the pace of 59.30 as a finished pace is a 2:49 kilometre. We don't yet know where the women are, but they are looking for a 3:10 pace to bring them under 67 minutes, which again is world-class running from these athletes this morning.
7 minuti alla partenza e ancora.
So the two pacers here, Gideon Rock and Timothy Kangogo. Rock due to go to 15 kilometres, so to take the athletes a good way into the full race distance of 21.1 kilometres. As you can see from the pictures here, this is slightly downwards. The tunnel was shut very early this morning, just to make sure that the normally busy traffic that runs through here, the fumes are cleared and the air was good for the athletes this morning. So the lead group is now turning right and heading down towards the Seafront. As you can see from the roads, it was pretty wet this morning, and I know a couple of the runners were a little bit concerned as to how slippy the surface may be. The super fast shoes these days are very light and not necessarily have the best grip for a sliding road surface.
sotto l'arco. Vedo anche tanti degli abitanti di fuori rotta che stanno correndo.
And you can get some idea from this camera angle at the speed these guys are going at as the port, as you can see the port in the background.
Io non vedo ancora dove finisce la coda del tubo, a vista non vedo dove sono. Credo che gli ultimi siano ancora
So let's have a look at the start, where athletes are still coming through, and there we have it. There were about 300 last-minute entries for the race in the last week. People who suddenly decided that they fancied a half marathon challenge on a Sunday morning. Maybe the prospect of perfect weather conditions tempted them out. Hundreds of people are still passing through the start line. There we have the guys with the pace times on their backs, just so that the masses can help pace themselves, make sure they're on track for their personal best or their target time. La metà dei partenti quasi sono italiani e stranieri, solo il 20%. And now we're heading back to the front of the race to see what's happening. As you can see, they're making their way along the seafront here. And they seem to have regrouped into a nice tight pack there. Two paces at the front, 5, 6 of the main contenders tucked in behind. Anthony Kintai amongst that group. He also will be looking to run his first half marathon under an hour. Sono passati 11 minuti da via, mancano 49 minuti all'arrivo del vincitore. The picture's slightly breaking up there with the women's lead camera. We have a group of 3 there running with the male pacemakers. They're all looking then for a time under 67 minutes this morning. So the men there looking quite comfortable at this early stage. Only 10, 11 minutes in at the moment. And you can see there the pace chart. We should have some idea at 5 kilometres as to the time these guys are on for. As you can see in the distance, the Castel dell'Ovo. One of the great landmarks of this beautiful city. And there we have the lead women, one of whom is Angela Tanui, a winner here back in 2019. And you can see that these guys are happy to work together, work from each other, all looking for a good time this morning. Many either taking part in spring marathons or pacing spring marathons. In the case of Brian Karui, who is all set to pace the London Marathon in April. So the women's lead group here, on for a time of post 67, and that's Angela Tanui in that group. So Angela Tanui in that lead group has quite a CV. She has 2:18 marathon to her name and is by far and away the fastest woman in this field. So Angela Tanui, she's a 12-year-old son, lives and trains in E10 and is aiming to run a marathon in Daegu this April. So back to the Leeds men's group. Just heading up to 5k now. Should get some idea of how fast they're going. So just looking at the clock there and looking at their position on the map, it looks to me as if they're sticking to their pace of 59:30 as they leave the Castle d'Oeuvre behind them and continue along the front there. So heading back to the main group, and here they are going into the tunnel. And the funky pacer, can't quite see him, but he's a well-known figure in this part of the world and makes it great fun for those of the athletes that are running a bit further back in the pack. He's aiming for an hour 45 this morning. So let's go back now to the men's lead group. And as before, the pace is in front, pulling these guys along. They have a nice tight group there. It's always much easier in these kinds of races if you've got company. There's nothing worse with a long race, such 21.1 kilometers, having to run on your own. So these guys will feed off each other as they make their way through this beautiful coastline in Naples. So we're heading back now to the women's leaders. Can't quite see behind the pacer there who's in that group. But it's like there's 3 athletes there following close behind their pacemaker, who, as I say, is looking for 67 minutes this morning. So we're going to head back now to the men's for a few seconds. They wind their way around the slightly twisty part of the course.
Allora, cortesemente il medico di gara, se può raggiungere i giudici della federazione qui in zona di partenza. Il medico di gara, se può raggiungere la zona di partenza, grazie. Allora, arrivano aggiornamenti dal percorso, 15 chilometri.
So as these guys make their way along the front here, we're going to take a look back. At last year's highlights. So we're going to take a look back now at last year's highlights. I can't see a single thing, by the way, guys. No, but I can't see people's numbers. I don't know who's there. Oh, it's terrible. I can't see a bloody thing. I can't see people's faces, their numbers. So there was a look back at last year, and here we have the masses just winding their way onto the seafront here in Naples on this slightly cloudy but beautiful morning for running. May not be beautiful for sitting in the sun because there isn't any, but it's certainly beautiful for running. So now heading back to the women's leaders. So we have a group of 3 here, 20 minutes into the race. Young Nancy Chepleting, joined by her compatriot Angela Tanui. Nancy Chepleting with a half marathon best of 1:09:44, certainly looking like she's challenging that this morning. Her best of 31:54 suggests that she should be able to do that. And she's enjoying running here with a much experienced Angela Tanui. So now let's take a look at one of the great landmarks here in Naples, the Castel dell'Ovo. Talking to some local people here, it feels like there's so many legends and myths around this beautiful landmark. Currently closed for renovation, but legends suggest that the egg that's in the foundations of the castle, if the shell is ever broken, the city of Naples will crumble. And having been here for many centuries, I think that the egg is unlikely to be broken in the near distant future. So back now to the lead men. Still a nice tight group here. 22.5 minutes on the clock. So more than a third of the way through the race. Great to see Britain's Emile Carrez still up there in the lead group. And looking like they're still on pace for a sub-60 clocking here. We'll know a lot more when they get close to 10K, when there's an official time mat. And we know that they're going to be expecting to going through 10K in 28 minutes there or thereabouts. So you can see in the background there, the ferries parked up, ready to take passengers across to the beautiful islands in the Bay of Naples, the better known of which, of course, is the Isle of Capri. So here we have pictures of both lead groups, both running very strongly at this point. The great thing about the half marathon distance is that it's not quite so necessary to take on board fuel and liquids, certainly on a morning like this morning where it's just a perfect temperature and they certainly aren't going to need to worry too much about the heat. So the athletes are able to concentrate and focus totally on their running. And both lead groups looking like they're strong and sticking with their pacemakers on target for good times this morning. So I'm struggling to see the names on the bibs here of these leaders. But we've got three men here tucked behind the two pacemakers. And actually quite a long way now from the second group. You can see there's two lead bikes there. The second group is 200 metres back. So it looks likely that these will be top places here unless something drastic happens. But they'll be looking for that 10k marker, see if they're on track for that sub 60 clocking. And that should be coming up in the next 3 or 4 minutes. Here we are back now, lead women. It looks as if that Angela Tanui just dropped off the pace. I'm having a little bit of difficulty with seeing the names on the numbers here, but that looks like Angela Tanui that's tucked in behind the pacemaker there. And a couple of guys hanging on there in the hope of making the most of tagging onto Angela Tanui's pacemaker and getting a fast time themselves. The women will be hoping to go through 10k in under 32 minutes. And we're going to actually go back to the men now and just see what their 10k split is like. So here we are again with the lead men as they're heading towards 10k. You can see the pacemaker there checking his watch. See how close he is to the target time. So they'll be looking for a 10k time somewhere around, say, 28:10. That will get them to a finish time under an hour.
Ancora credo un minuto più o meno e avremo il passaggio al 10° chilometro della gara maschile.
Okay, and there's the 10k map. Wow, those guys are flying this morning. So the leading men are certainly on for a very fast time this morning. They are well ahead of schedule. I'm afraid the picture quality here means that I'm not able to see the numbers very clearly, but these guys are on a very fast pace and at the moment well below their target time. There's the lead women make their way on this slightly cobbled surface here. Not that easy on the feet when you've got light racing shoes on. But they'll be aiming to get to 10k in the next couple of minutes. And those men that were hoping to tag on to the lead women struggling a little bit here, dropping off the pace, leaving Angela Tanui, I think it is, tucked behind the pacemaker. And I say, apologies, it's not terribly clear for me to see the names on the numbers. Yeah, and it looks like the cameraman's not having the best of times either. On a slightly bumpy surface there. As they turn the corner here, heading towards the 10k mark. One of the very few turns on this course. One of the reasons that it's such a fast race. So the men are now powering along. And great to see Emil Caress up there with the two pacemakers. As I say, I'm struggling with some of the numbers due to the picture quality here, but it's three elite men away there, well away I have to say, from the rest of the group. The next significant marker for the men will be the 15-kilometre mark, where they'll be looking to pass through in around 42 minutes. Not so windy this morning. It has been very windy the last couple of days, but fortunately they're not heading into a headwind, which they would have been over the last couple of days. Oh, and here we go. They're just about to the 10k mark for the women, and they too seem to be well ahead of the pace set for this race. Looked like a sub 31:20 clocking for the women under 10k. So they too are for a super fast time here. So Angela Tanui, who's looking for a spring marathon in Daegu, clearly in very good shape. And the lead woman here tucking nicely behind the pacer. We are back.
Grazie di Dio all'età mia se studiava ancora la geografia.
Sapevamo
ancora come erano i paesi. Oggi sti cazzi.
Enjoy themselves on this slightly cool Sunday morning.
Secondo te?
Lots of fun being had out there.
Un pelino sotto e non su.
Wonderful to see so many people taking part this morning.
Ma sta cosa poi dopo va da qualche parte. No, è live streaming ora.
The whole city has been buzzing the last couple of days. Family run yesterday. Yeah, lots of children with their parents. And I'm sure many of those parents having a good run out. 2 this morning.
Raga, che saluto alla grande.
I think the funky pacer is a bit of a celebrity himself in these parts.
Non fa caldo, non fa freddo.
As this group of runners head down towards the port. Here we are now, the men's lead group. As we reach some 34 minutes into the race, so these guys are well past halfway. Probably thinking about maybe testing each other a little bit. As they head down back towards the seafront. Pacer doing a really good job here. As I say, I'm struggling a little bit to see the names on the numbers, so apologies. So here we have some great images of both the men's lead group on your left there, and the women's lead group on the right, or solo runner on the right. So Bernard Biwott, I think I caught his name on the bib in that lead group. A very young athlete, with a half marathon best time under 60 minutes. So I saw briefly there the women's 10k splits. So the men here at 36 minutes, heading well towards 13k. And there you can see how fast those guys went through 10k. Well under the target time of 59:30 there. And both Gideon Kipetich and Anthony Kim Tai, well-seasoned athletes. Anthony Kim Tai ran in this race a couple of years ago, but wasn't in that lead group at that point, but obviously knows the course very well. Emile Caresse, the Briton looking for a spring marathon, having run 2:08 on his debut in London last year. One of the most promising European talents out there right now. I'm sure he was pleased to see his team Arsenal win last night. There we have, see a much closer view of these guys, all looking quite comfortable. Although I'm sure underfoot those cobbles are maybe not as comfortable in the lightweight, thin-soled racing shows with these shoes that these
Allora,
guys
arrivano notizie anche
put
dalla
on for these
gara
events.
al femminile, passaggio diciamo abbastanza in solitaria, che
Here we
arriva
have
da
the women's
noi
leaders,
31 e 28 il passaggio ai 10.000.
and they will be 11-12k in at this point.
Quindi a questo punto dovrebbero arrivare al traguardo del giorno all'ora di 06.
Pacemaker doing duty there. And one of the better men in the race, making the most of it. And we have a slight frozen picture for a moment as we go back to the men. So the half marathon is quite a tough distance to take part in. 10k is relatively easy because I think you can always get through 6.2 miles. But the half marathon just takes that extra bit of training, a little bit more speed endurance, and even for the mass participants who perhaps don't run as much as these guys up at the front who are clocking 120, 130 miles a week, it's still quite a challenge to take on board. I was quite surprised to hear that more than 300 people entered in the last week heading up to this event, because I always think it's not something you could just wake up on a Sunday morning and think, oh, I'm going to run a half marathon this morning. But clearly a lot of people maybe had it in their sights and were just waiting to see perhaps what the weather was like and how they felt themselves in their training. And it's great to see so many people out here on a Sunday morning. And here we are, back to the lead woman. I'm sure she's very thankful to have a pacemaker with her there. There's still some 5-6 miles, 8-9k to go. And these guys still looking strong. I'm sure making the most of this slight downhill. Emil Caress seems to be slightly off that group, although regathering himself, trying not to get detached there. I say apologies, it's not easy for me to identify the athletes around Emil. I can't actually see, due to the quality of the pictures, the names on the numbers there. They run along the Seafront again. So you can see off to the right there, you can see the port of Naples. A very busy area, normally full of people, either in cars or walking along the front or taking ferries to the many islands. And there it is, beautiful shot there. And you can see the many ships that come into this port, cruise liners, smaller craft, ferries taking people across to the beautiful island of Capri. And here we are back with the lead women. Lead woman, I should say. Looking very, very comfortable there. So we're now going to go back to the men who are making their way through the tunnel. The picture breaking up a little bit here, but this is probably the most challenging part of the course. A gentle 900-meter slope. And I think this is where the saying, the light at the end of the tunnel, comes to fruition. As when they come out of the tunnel, there's only a few kilometers to go to the finish. But also they will have got themselves through the most challenging part of the course. What looks like a gentle slope on a normal day doesn't feel quite so gentle when you're only a few kilometers from the end of a half marathon and a tough race. And here they are, having come through the tunnel and now heading their way through the last few minutes of the race. They head down towards the finish now. And now I can see the leader is Anthony Kimtai there. Only 25 and seems to have got himself in the last few minutes a bit of a gap. And I wonder whether he took advantage of the slope in the tunnel, maybe feeling a little bit stronger than the rest of the group, just to break away and give himself some space as he comes back along the front here and starts to make his way towards the finish. They've really been pushing hard, these men, from the very beginning. And he's looking very comfortable, I have to say. He's never broken an hour for a half marathon before, but he did run this race in 2022, so he's familiar with the course. And now let's look back at the women. And one woman away on her own. Again, I can't see the names on the bibs here. But yes, as expected, it's Angela Tanuri, who is by far the most favourite in this race. She has a best of 1:07.16, set back in 2017, but is looking for a fast time here to set her on her way to Daegu Marathon in April. She has won this race before, so she knows what victory feels like, and she's certainly enjoying the company of these two guys. It's a long way to run on your own. The pacemaker seems to be doing a sterling job. The men like the women like the men rather. going through 10K in a very fast time. So assuming she's able to hold on to that pace, she looks likely to get somewhere near to her personal best time of 1:07.16. And here we are back with the men. And as you can see, beautiful setting of the Naples seafront here. And I apologise. I think when the pictures came to me earlier, it looked like Anthony Kimtai was in the lead, but actually it's Gideon Kiprotich. Oh, Gideon Kiprotich is the pacer, I'm being told. Apologies for the graphics. So Anthony Kimtai is the leader. So revisiting the list again, just to be clear, Gideon Kiprotich is the pacemaker. Anthony Kimtai is in fact the leader, with Bernard Biwott in second place, Brian Carew in third, and Emil Perez in fourth, all very close together.
Migliori prestazioni mondiali di tutto il 2024 a febbraio. Quindi stiamo attendendo questa notizia perché attualmente il record della gara è 59,26, stabilito 2 anni fa da Evan Crippa, record italiano tuttora in vigore. Ma la notizia ancora più bella è che la gara
So less than 10 minutes for these guys to run now, assuming they can keep this great pace up.
Ma soprattutto Sofia Jarek è in linea con il record italiano femminile, quindi il tentativo di provare a portare tutti e due i record italiani a Napoli in questo momento
and the normally bustling front
sogno concreto.
of the Bay of Naples, a bit quieter this morning, with people just coming out to support their family and friends, and of course these elite athletes who are at the front. Back to the women now. Angela Tanui just emerged from that 900 metres tunnel, so she's now completed the toughest bit of the course and can look towards the run-in for the next 10 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes or so. She is well clear of the rest of the field. And I'm being told we're going to go back to the men's race now. So I think this is the chase pack here. Just waiting for some information. This is Brian Carew here.
Sei così bella, anzi bellissimissima, lascia un punto e una virgola, quando scrivo di te, ed è così bello.
So when these guys come out of the tunnel here, they'll only have a few kilometres left to run. And the time on the clock at the moment, 52. Kennedy. And there's a nice gap here for the lead man. And there's a great deal of anticipation with only 2 or 3 minutes left to run. All the crowds here at the finish line looking back down Viale JF Kennedy to see who turns the corner first. And it is, as I thought, Brian Karui, who seems to have taken the lead away from his compatriot Anthony Kimtai. All his running done in the last few kilometres.
Vedo apparire una macchina della polizia che dovrebbe essere in testa alla corsa.
I think I'm seeing the beard clearly now. We only have 2 or 3 minutes left to run as Brian Karui heads in towards the finish turn. And everyone here looking back towards the end of the street as he can now see the finish line ahead of him. The time on the clock currently 58:15. This is going to be a fantastically fast time.
Sono a circa 200-250 metri da noi e quindi vi seguiamo.
Don't forget the course record here is 59 minutes 26 seconds, set 2 years ago by Italian Yeme Crippa. And Brian Karui looks set as he heads towards the finish to be somewhere close to that, if not quicker than that. And he must be able to hear the crowds and the announcer on the PA as he tries to keep that rhythm going, keep the pace fast. And here he comes. Only a few seconds left to run. And he comes through the finish line in 59:26 seconds. Unofficially 59:26. Exactly the same as the course record. The time on my screen is showing quicker than that. The time on the clock at the finish slightly slower than that. So we'll have to wait and see. Anthony Kimtai comes from second. And Emil Caress just on the hour. A personal best for him, 1 hour and 2 seconds. So I have to say the clock on the screen is slightly quicker than the clock on the gantry, so I'll have to see what the official timings are. I'll have to wait for that to come up on our screen shortly. The pacemaker comes to finish, not far off the hour time itself. So we'll wait a moment for the finish graphics and the finish times to come up. What a great race there. Those lead men working hard with each other for the majority of the race. Great victory for Brian Karui, who, as I say, is a bit of a half marathon specialist and is looking forward to pacemaking duties in a couple of months' time for the marathon. Oh, so for a second there, we almost saw the finish times and the finish graphic. I'll wait for that to come up before announcing them. So I'm hearing that the finish is coming through the tunnel.
So we were waiting for the first meeting that will arrive around 5 minutes from now.
And as the stragglers from that men's league group start to come through, still some great times here. Clock still under 102. We await with some anticipation now for the women's leader, Angela Tanui, who looks set to be running a very fast time here as well. So as you can see, the women have just come through the last tunnel and just completed that 900-metre stretch. Angela Tanui on her own as a female for the majority of this race, but hanging on to the pacemaker and one of the mass participation runners who seems to have managed to hang on the entire way and will end up with a great time too himself. So only a few minutes left to run now for these lead women. 35 on the clock. It would be great to know too. Sophia Yaremchuk is running slightly behind this group here. At 29, she's looking to beat the Italian half marathon record. She already holds the Italian record of 2:23:16 for the marathon. So Angela Tanui here with only 3 or 4 minutes to run. She's stuck very close to this pacemaker. So she must be feeling strong and feeling pleased with her efforts today. So we're just waiting for the final official times for the men's race as the camera continues to focus on our women's leader here. So here we have officially the men's top 3. So Ryan Karui, official time 59:26. So completely second to second, matching Yemen Cricker's course record of 59:26 from a couple of years ago. Anthony Kiptai, some 19 seconds back, in 59:45. Looked like he had a bit of a break there at one point in the race, but Ryan Karui came back after him in those final few kilometres. And in third place, Bernard Biot with a time of 59:47. All 3 men there under the 60-minute mark, a mark which is still seen to be an important breakthrough at this distance. So here they are, lining up for photos. Our top 3 men. I should think all 3 of them very pleased with that performance today. As we head now to Angela Tanui, she herself now looking towards the last couple of minutes of this race. Pacemaker due to run under 107, which would be a personal best for Angela Tanui. Now stepped off the course, so she's now for the first time in this race on her own. Less than a kilometre to go. She seems to be still piling on the pace here, Angela Tanui. Pretty amazing after 20 kilometres of running to still be looking this strong and this good. And here she comes, heading to the finish now. Great run here from Angela Tanui. She's just going to be outside her best. Sorry, I lost the camera shot there. I think the critical moment. So I think that was personal best there for Angela Tanui. And I think that was hard for me to see because the picture went at the wrong moment. But I think that's a personal best for her. Unfortunately, we just missed that. That looks like a personal best for Angela Tanui. And a course record too for her. Fantastic form to be showing this time of the year, and only a matter of 6 or 8 weeks away from a spring marathon. She says she's going to go back home to E10 this week. She has a 40-kilometre run to do on Sunday as she continues towards her spring marathon goal in Daegu in April. And here we have Sophia Remchek there with an Italian record, unofficially 1:08:32. Superb run then by Sophia Remchek. 29. She's absolutely smashed her marathon best time, her half marathon best time. She had her own pacemaker in this race, and he's done a superb job. So unofficially, a new Italian record for Sophia Remchek. Race director Carlo Capalba will be thrilled with that. So, big smile on the face there of Sophia Remchek. Not only a great second place finish, but an Italian record unofficially, and first time under 1:09. There she is with her pacemaker there. She must be very pleased with him and his help today. And that's the third place woman, I think, coming through there. I'm sure we'll see soon the graphic with the official times for those first 3 place women. Now we have the third place women. Nancy Chipping, third place. She's only 22 years old, and I think she too would have broken her half marathon best time. So I think all 3 women, first 3 place women in the women's race there, running personal best. Although, as I say, we didn't quite catch Angela Tanui crossing the line, so we'll have to wait for the official times to come up for me to confirm that. Slightly chaotic scenes at the finish here as people try to get photographs, interviews. very fast performances
Ciao
here,
ragazzi, ben
particularly
arrivati
in
a
the
tutti
women's
voi,
race.
Napoli vi aspetta qui al traguardo di questa Napoli City Marathon. Siamo a un'ora 11:35 dalla partenza. Congratulations for your race. Uno dopo l'altro arrivano da ogni parte del mondo, già sono arrivati due francesi, un inglese, 7 indiani, due etiopi, continuo, 70 nazioni in gara oggi. Ti dico che c'è un atleta che arriva dalla Groenlandia appositamente per correre a Napoli, Nuova Zelanda, Giappone, davvero abbiamo tutto il mondo che corre oggi qui e ci sono ovviamente gli occhi la federazione mondiale che segue una delle gare
Italian runner
in alto a destra sul portale
speaking to the local press.
World Race Label 2024, quindi una delle 200 gare più importanti al mondo. Ancora arrivi, ancora passaggi, le prime 3 donne sono arrivate. Noi tra pochi minuti ci sposteremo all'interno del pannello
102.29. We'll have to wait and see whether he broke that today.
e io lascerò la parola ad Anna, che dovrebbe essere già qui sotto l'arco d'arrivo di 6 anni. Buongiorno.
So unofficially there at the bottom of your screen you can see women's winning time of 1:07.05. That would indeed be a personal best for Angela Tanui. At age 31 she must be thrilled with her form. So there's our first and third place finisher there. Angela Tanui and Nancy Chepney, both from Kenya, and both running personal bests today. As these women are interviewed by the press, runners continuing to come through. We're still only 1:14 on the clock here, so these athletes coming through now, all having run great times this morning. Some starting to creep through, but it's been a perfect morning for half marathon racing. And I'm sure many of the people out there would have enjoyed personal best performances today. So there we have second place, Sophia Yaremchuk. So still waiting for the official women's times to come through. And we'll show that graphic as soon as it's available.
Christina, welcome to the finish. Our 14 minutes and 45 seconds.
And here we have it. So in first place, Kenya's Angela Tanui, and it's disappeared there, but 67.05 for the Kenyan. In second place, Sophia Yaremchuk, unofficially at 1:08.27, an Italian record and a big personal best for her. And Nancy Chepney at 70.03, just slightly outside her personal best, but 3 great performances for the top 3 women here this morning. We're trying here to get the word from Sophia Yaremchuk. Unfortunately, the background noise is quite loud. And so she should be several seconds off her personal best, and it's an Italian record. Still to be confirmed, but she must be thrilled going into spring in this Olympic year with a personal best in the marathon not that long ago, and now a personal best in the half marathon. This is an athlete in great form right now.
Andiamo ragazzi, su, dovete di questo rettilineo d'arrivo, emozionantissimo perché guardate il traguardo di gara da lontano e per correre un rettilineo in piano per quasi 400 metri, vi assicuro che è davvero emozionante. Quello che pensa nella sette, non fa ok, perché fa un grande distretto, non fa effetto, devi chiudere il resto, non fa il bello, sino a quando sono spronto, perché il testo, quando non ci resti mai, ognuno ha le sue, si vive una volta sola, ma tu hai tu, vuoi che tu passi, ma ti ho detto, si fa ancora una dentro il pacchetto, mi fa contare come mangia, le sono le tre, si va dare le tue mani, la prima la te, la vita,
The clock reaches 1:20. So lots of runners coming through. Say this at 80 minutes. This is still a very fast time. 21.1 kilometers. And as you can see, smiling faces here. As I said earlier, perfect morning running here in Naples. The music gets louder here at the finish line. People are celebrating as they cross the lines. A great Sunday morning out on the Bay of Naples. Sofia Yaremchuk there, still celebrating her Italian record. Lots to celebrate, this young lady.
Allora, lasciamo a Sofia il tempo delle foto. Sofia, ho bisogno di 30 secondi, voglio farti fare un saluto a Napoli e vi accolgo oggi. Assolutamente in fotografi. Sono con Sofia Yaremchuk qui sotto l'arco d'arrivo. Sofia, un sogno dopo il record italiano di maratona a Valencia.
So many athletes finishing here, arms aloft. They look up at the clock. 80 minutes now. I'm sure a target for many of the runners out there this morning. So Sofia Yaremchuk very much the centre of attention. Unfortunately, we can't hear her words. It's very noisy here at the finish line. Really very delighted. Waving the Italian flag, which I'm sure.
Vi lascio in compagnia di Anna che continuerà ad animare qui il traguardo. Torino tra una ventina di minuti e
Craziness at the finish line here. Music playing, cheering on their friends and family. Lots of the athletes finishing now wanting to get their photograph taken with the star of the day, or certainly the Italian star of the day, Sofia Yaremchuk. She waves up to the camera there. Great to see.
Grazie soprattutto al sole che ha deciso di uscire.
So athletes here collecting their medals. Many of my children walk around wearing up with pride. It was great to see kids yesterday having completed the family run wearing their medals back to the hotel where all the athletes and the team at Run Check we put on this great event was staying. As we get closer to 125, so you can see more and more runners coming through.
Dietro la colonna riesco a vedere tutti gli atleti che arrivano dopo sfilato che sembra io veramente lontano vedo anche il laser dell'1.24 del gruppo svedese che dovrebbero essere Marcello Esposito che è diretto di Nicola Marino San Nicola
Time based on their chin.
24 complimenti ai due
watches.
Benvenuti ragazzi,
hanno fatto compagnia agli atleti. Ben arrivati a tutti. Facciamo un applauso, cerchiamo di dare una carica a chi sta entrando che da lontano cerca di incitare tutti quelli che stanno qua. Complimenti. Veramente non solo dalla campagna. And look at that silverware ready to be collected later today. In the expo which has been running for the last couple of days here. Runners coming to collect their race packs. Kids Run was run from here. It's been a hive of activity around the start-finish area for the last couple of days. Here we are back at the finish line as more and more runners start pouring through. Just at the bottom of your screen there you can see the winning time. Ryan Kiru, 59.26. Second place, Anthony Kimtai, 59.45. And third place, Ryan Watt, 59.47. So the first three runners all under 60 minutes. Emil Perez, personal best for him. Almost bang on the hour time with 60.01. So great men's race there. With the equaling of the course record by Brian Kirui, 59.26, equalising previous record of Yemen Christmas set back in 2022, also 59.26. Hopefully in a second we'll see confirmation of the women's result. Here we have the women's top 10. Angie Tadui, clear leader, 67.04, a personal best for her. Sophia Yarenchek, unofficially 68.27, and a new Italian record. And in third place, Nancy Chepnetting, 70.03. Those three women well clear of fourth placer Christina Hendel from Germany, 74.42. 67.04 by Angela Tanui, clearly well in front, and a world-class performance from her in first place. So world-class performances both in the men's and the women's races here in Naples this morning. And you can see on your screen there more and more runners coming through, all having completed the half marathon distance in under 90 minutes.
Io invito dopo a intrattenervi comunque lì a questa lezione per concludere appunto questa bellissima presa dei giorni, soprattutto il canale che sarà appunto venerdì, quindi per una sorta di salvatore, ben arrivato, ci vediamo tra poco,
So as the clock ticks on towards 90 minutes, I think it's safe to say that the organisers, Run Check and Napoli Running, have put on a great event here this morning in the city of Naples. A fast course, some great times, great performances, and I'm imagining some very happy runners coming through now with some personal bests under their belt.
Quando ci avviciniamo verso le ore e lì veramente c'è gente che ha bisogno di felicità.
Almost 6,000 runners signed up for this event. I know organiser Carlo Capalbo would love to make it a much bigger event in years to come, and hopefully Naples, being the city of sport in a couple of years' time, will encourage more and more people out onto the streets to run, keep fit, and carry the mantra of all runners are beautiful, which is very much a part of this organisation. You can see other runners here at the finish line. Happy, I'm sure, to have finished the 21.1 kilometres. Oh, one guy just leaping in the air then as he crossed the finish line. People even having time to get out their phones, take a selfie as they cross the line. That's pretty impressive.
Prima della maglietta Superman, complimenti per il look, grande. Vai bravo, vai. Forza ragazzi. Vai Romeo, ben arrivato. Forza. L'entusiasmo, l'entusiasmo. Con la voce più grande.
Our picture is frozen here, but there's still runners coming through in big groups. And as the runners come through the finish line here, we can see the winners. So let's finish up here with a final view of the results of this great morning's racing here in Naples. As you can see there, a strong win by Brian Kirui in 59.26 ahead of Anthony Kimchai, Bernard Biwott, and then Emil Caress just outside the hour mark. What was a very strong men's race. And a quick look, I hope, at the women's top 10. And here we have the women's top 10. Very fast running from these women this morning. Angela Tanui with a personal best of 1:07.04. Then Sofia Remchek with unofficially what looks like a new Italian record of 68.27. And Nancy Chepnating just over the 70-minute mark in 70.03. But a great women's performance too. And as the winners celebrate in the expo, they're about to receive their trophies, we can all look back on a fantastic morning here in the city of Naples at the Napoli City Half Marathon 2024.
Chiunque prima ovviamente gli avrà dato la medaglia che vedremo